Hello guys, NautoAis here. I want to give my thoughts about this interesting what's happening from HAMSTER Corporation, the people behind the ACA NEOGEO and Arcade Archive. I'm not gonna lie, they are fun to play, like a quick and pick up, sort of like treating it as a downloadable game. If you need something quick, something nostalgic, there you go. $8, yeah, they're very expensive, but once in a while some of those games goes 50% off. Yeah, so I'm a sucker, especially with SNK games, because I do love SNK. So I got some of them. Of course, one of the showcase I did was Aero Fighter 2 from the ACA NEOGEO. So why am I talking about ACA NEOGEO Arcade Archive HAMSTER Corporation? Because HAMSTER did a presentation in Japan, and they talk about the history. They even did award. And they even had guests such as Sakurai and Kamiya, yes, the guy who did Super Smash Brother and the guy who did Bayonetta. They were there because they're also, well, they like HAMSTER Arcade, especially Hideki Kamiya. He loves that, so I don't blame him. You know, nostalgic, retro sometimes. It's cool for it is what it is. Think of it as a virtual going to a Final Fun Center virtually. Okay, I digress. But anyway, they are also made an announcement that is interesting, that if you've been wondering for a while that HAMSTER Corporation were not putting out more ACA NEOGEO games. Maybe they're done, they did all the catalog, but there are some that is not on one console and another. And one funny part is the Super Spy, for whatever reason, is not on the PlayStation in the US version. I don't know why. I mean, maybe because of the enemies, but I'm not going to touch that. It's kind of just weird. It's on the Xbox, it's on Switch, but I don't know. That's it's weird. But I mean, there are some games that's not on the other console. I don't know what the deal behind it. Maybe the company themselves, Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo probably denied it. Sometimes that can happen. BS, but it is what it is. So anyway, like I said, you notice there's not a lot of ACA games anymore. They're doing Arcade Archive. They're still doing more, especially now with Namco Bandai. So with that said, what is the new announcement? So during the presentation, they announced for the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series XS, and I wouldn't be surprised Nintendo's next console, the Switch 2, that's what people call it, they introduced the ACA2 NEOGEO. So what's the difference? Well, first of all, it's going to be only in the current generation console, the latest one. Second, it will have all the features that's from the ACA NEOGEO online ranking. But the new stuff for the ACA2 NEOGEO are two. Time attack mode, so there's now that, which you play like Tekken, Soul Calibur. They have that mode with how fast you can beat the opponent, or how fast can you do it with 8 opponents. You know how it goes. I mean, replay value to some extent. But the biggest one here, I'm surprised that HAMSTER Corporation is doing it, and that is online. They're doing online. So the first game they showed was King of Fighter 98, not the Ultimate Edition, the enhanced version. No, the original NeoGeo version of King of Fighter 98. You can play it online. They showed how it works. So interesting to some extent. A little bit weird that you're starting with NeoGeo King of Fighter 98, but that's one of the most popular King of Fighter, believe it or not. The Dream Matches 98, and then the second one is 2002. I mean, it is what it is. But they say that they are going to be adding games that are competitive to the ACA2 NEOGEO. So my thoughts about it, good idea for some who don't want to buy like the other version. Say, I want to play this classic NeoGeo game. I want to play it online competitively because they have a lot of fighting games. Fatal Fury, Art of Fighting, etc., etc., etc. I mean, granted, they're not really that good than the modern fighting games, but hey, nostalgic power, right? You can play online. There you go. So the key thing is crossplay. The game has to be crossplay, but I don't know if HAMSTER Arcade can do it. But we'll just have to wait and see. So it's a great idea. So finally, you can able to play classic fighting NeoGeo games online with friends. So that's awesome. I mean, it's kind of weird they're doing it with 98, which, like I said, there is Ultimate Match. And then you might say, well, what about 2002? Same deal. There's also on the Xbox and also on PlayStation. You can play them. Heck, I mean, some of this King of Fighter game that I just mentioned is also on Steam. Just saying there. Anyway, thoughts. I think it's a good idea. Awesome. Especially with those classic NeoGeo fighting game that I mentioned. Art of Fighting, Fatal Fury, Savage Reign, World Hero, etc., etc., etc. I mean, there have been a lot of Neo Geo games that have online features, such as Breaker's Revenge is one of them. A Neo Geo game has online, and then there's other ones just saying that. So awesome what they did, pretty cool. So we'll see if they're gonna release that outside of Japan. As of right now, from what I understand, it's only in Japan. I could be wrong. And one of the first game, like I said, is King Fighter 98. If they do crossplay, then they'll probably sell because, like I said, a lot of people do like playing this classic fighting game. So that is my thoughts. I think it's pretty good. With that, I'll see you guys later. And yes, Sakurai and Kamiya are in the presentation, like I said before.